yeah, more on that deal and all of it up in the air a little bit later as the show progresses. But just give us a bit more information on the compensation, because it has led to a lot of discussion and dispute about what's fair and whether the system is right or not.
It has. So, look, the AFL, to its credit this year, has tried to clear up the free agency formula and put a bit more context around it so it's not referred to as the secret herbs and spices. Effectively, contracts are assigned a points value based on the finances and the age of the player, and they're compared to the cohort. The issue here is that North Melbourne are offering him, or Essendon are offering him, maybe just under $800,000 a year, but these formulas are based on the 2023 contracts, so based on round one contracts in 2023. It's not reflective of the 2024 salary cap, which we know is going to have about a 15% uptick in player contracts. So it does mean that we're probably going to get more outlandish results this year than we've had in most years, because these contracts and these free agency figures, they're reflective of contracts at the start of the year, not the contracts that are coming in the years ahead. That's why pick 3 effectively has gone at the end of the day to Essendon and to North Melbourne Football Club.
So what we have here is basically an inflation of the current day, because we're already creeping into 23 and beyond,
so
but applying 22 rules.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good luck to him. Fantastic. Well done to the Bombers. But if you just pull it down to tin tacks, he ain't worth a pick 3.
Yeah, and I think that would be the view of many clubs, and North Melbourne understandably would have left it the opportunity to get pick 3 the moment that compensation pick came through. They would have matched it even if it was end of first round compensation, because it's band 1, it's pick 3.
And that's where
also because of how bad North
Essendon have played the system though too as well, haven't they? Because they've made sure he's getting paid enough that North Melbourne won't match it, so therefore they don't lose a player, they get a player for nothing.
I think they're working within the rules that are there, and they've done it very well. So they obviously no draft capital goes out their door, and they get in a player who, I think, in the context of things next year and over the course of the deal, it's going to seem like unders, given how much player payments are going up.
Potentially could seem like unders, but that's the point, Hutto, that you make. We talk about the deal and the clubs here, but the player. What is the player? The player himself hasn't won too many games of footy, hasn't achieved too much in the game so far. All of a sudden, 6-year deal, prize recruit at Essendon. He'd want to turn heads day one now that he's walking through those doors, because that's what the Essendon faithful are looking for. This player now, who they've given a fair contract to turn them around to become a finals contender. So that's why now it turns on to McKay, and he's the one now, apart from the club deal, who has to get.
So this is all done on faith, because I mean, Essendon will look at it and say, right, we've got an upgrade. Zerk Thatcher goes out, and whatever he was on, it's a significant wage increase to get Ben McKay in, and he's a better player for a better specific target player to play against. So they've identified it. It seems it's still. This inflation is actually going to hurt for a little while. We're going to feel it for a while. I mean, we heard Ross Lyon really go into bat hard. For the rest of the league that sit down that pecking order of draft picks, and I can understand where he's coming from. When you have a boy, if you go Ben McKay, and nothing against the kid, well done. But if you actually look at the fairness of the competition, even in his own draft year, there are I've listed 5 players, key position backs, who are miles ahead of him.
Well, he wasn't.
He's entering the sweet spot now as a 25-year-old. But do you see enough to suggest he should be earning this kind of money over this frame?
You're worth as much as clubs are willing to pay you. I think it's more on Essendon. They've opted to invest heavily in him for 6 years at a fairly significant contract. Granted, the player payments next year will make it seem a bit less than that, but I mean, it's on Essendon really to identify talent, go after him. Other clubs were coming for him. They offered him. They got the best deal done.
It's on the player as well, though, because the player accepts the deal.
Yeah.
The player accepts the move. So
and that
it's
is
on
always
the player to work.
We've seen what happened with Tom Boyd and other players. I don't feel like there's going to be as much pressure as, say, a full forward would have. But there's equally, I think, pressure.
Honestly.
What it also does is it makes other players, I'll give you an example, Tom Hawkins, sit there and say, well, he's getting that much. That's why you sort of go, well, really? Do you know what I mean?
The thing that he has in his favour, this way, if he makes it work early, Essendon's system is better than North Melbourne's at the moment. They've got better players around them. He will have better players around him. He won't see ball coming into his back half as regular as what he has in North Melbourne colours in recent times. So it's in his favour for this to work. But like I said, it's up to him to put his head down and get it right from day one. Immediate impact is critical. When he walks into that change room and his teammates look at him in the eye for the first time, they want to know that he's set to have a big year straight up.
And Brad Scott, obviously the coach of the football club, who also coached Ben, he knows intimately Ben and how he plays football and how he can fit. So he's gone into this eyes wide open as well. So you couldn't really pick a club more eyes wide open than Essendon is. They've still refused to give him 6 years at that contract value.
Absolutely. That's fantastic for him, and hooray to him, well done. But this is... North Melbourne are getting overs for what they're letting walk out the door.
They are.
Massive overs.
It's also reflective of how badly they've performed this year. They have pick 2, so their first compensation pick falls at pick 3 because it's after their first...
probably
Come back to Ross
reflective.
Lyon then and you say, do they deserve that? If they're letting somebody not worth this walk out the door, well done, Bombers, and they receive pick 3 for it, that is unfair to all the teams that precede them.
And as Gillon McLaughlin said,
after.
the following day or the next couple of days in the 360 desk in between Gerard and Robbo, he said there's compromise everywhere if you want to look too deeply. But yes, there are flaws in the system.
But this is glaring.
This is glaring, and there are flaws in the system. Essendon has taken full advantage of it, and North Melbourne have...
Good luck to them.
And the AFL aren't going to be too upset by that because they're trying to help North Melbourne out. The good thing is, of course, is that they... but he was a Bomber fan as a kid as well, which is always important when it comes to trade period, isn't it?
Well, I think it's pretty important for them. I think the contract probably helped as well. That's $800K or so. It probably helps as well. But obviously, that's which
So
one's
that's
which,
Ben
by
on the
way?
left, obviously, and Harry on the
Obviously,
right.
yeah.
How do
Obviously.
you work that out?
No, I've got no idea. I just thought I'd say that. If you say it confidently enough, people will believe you. But